So for people trying to really grow businesses in today's world, about the only thing you can say for sure is that things are really, really unpredictable. And there's such a dynamic environment in which businesses are operating in. Globalization, obviously, the globalization of markets and technology and resources and inputs and so on. But much more than that, the dynamism of the context of business, that we really have to think about the social and environmental aspects of a business in ways we never had to before, because the footprint of business and the footprint of our societies is not a sustainable footprint. The field of systems thinking has been around for a long time as a set of basic skills that can help people think together about complexity. I think that's the key to this. It's one thing to have some expert go off and do an analysis. Obviously you read reports, you read studies that say, oh wow, that's pretty important. But it's almost impossible to have that kind of information have any impact in an organization because it's just ideas, just information. The real key to any learning process is how people become more aware of the way they are currently seeing the world and gradually start to develop a more appropriate or more sophisticated or more interdependent and systemic way of seeing the world. The systems thinking tools that have evolved over the years, and especially the way they've evolved in education, have really become more and more sophisticated as participatory, model building, thinking together tools. And I think this kind of tool is virtually unknown in most organizations, most businesses, and it can have enormous impact. One, in terms of building a new skill set to think systemically, but two, and if anything, as important, people actually thinking together differently about a very complex, uncertain, evolving environment, like all businesses work in. I've worked with Tracy Benson for 20 years, and I've found her to be just one of the most skillful teachers of these basic tools. In a way, probably there's no better training ground to become a great teacher than to work with teachers, and to work with kids, and to work with teachers who will work with the kids. So by covering that whole gamut, she and a lot of the other master teachers in the education work, systems thinking applied in education, have become, if anything, amongst the best facilitators in any field. Well, systems thinking is kind of a new term in the sense that a lot of people didn't use this term 30, 40, 50 years ago. I actually think it's kind of shorthand for intelligence, because I think what it means to be intelligent is to kind of see a field of things going on so that you can see what you really need to do. There are other disciplines for developing that type of intelligence, many of which are hundreds or thousands of years old. If you think about it, human beings lived in the natural world for most of our history. We were much more embedded in the natural order. So learning how to think like nature operates was critical to us. That's why I think you find traditions all around the world. You can call them wisdom traditions, but particularly now I'm thinking of the various domain bodies of practice, of capacity building. Probably there's no more clear example of this than the Eastern martial arts, which are basically teaching ways to become aware using our physical system, our physical mind-body system, which it's funny, I say physical mind-body system, it's kind of an oxymoron, but you see in the Chinese world there's really only the mind-body system, and there's different degrees of physicality or materiality to it and different degrees of subtlety to it. Using that system, which is to say us, as a vehicle for our developing a deeper understanding of how things interact, how they interdepend, how things change, how to pay attention, not in a focused, rigid, reductionistic view like this is the problem, this we have to do to fix it, but more expansively. What in in Aikido they often call soft eyes or soft hearing. So you're kind of using your senses to become aware of a systemic field. So I think integrating systems thinking tools that are focused on, you might say, the conceptual skills with mind-body practices, which are focused more on the embodied understanding of holism or systems awareness, or we often call it systems sensing, together really lay a foundation for true systems intelligence.